Chris Meyer, principal at St. Paul's Lutheran School in Waverly. Quite some years ago, one of my dearest relatives died. I remember I went to school the next day and my dad called me and he said in his most gentle voice, "I am so sorry for your loss." At that moment, I was wrapped in a blanket of sincere empathy for my loss, my story, my experience. We hear that phrase so often, but when it is said with true feeling for our pain in our moment, it is grace. We are living in a world layered with loss. It's hard and scary to know what words to use to begin. I am a white, middle-class woman living in the Midwest. I have not had to live the lives of so many marginalized people that have had to endure that kind of life since the day they were born. I can only truly understand through their stories of pain, bias, hurt, loss of human dignity, hatred, fear, and death. These stories come to me from friends, from relatives, from the media, from history books, from the lives of people lived in a system that was favoring only one kind of people. I am so sorry for the part that I have had to play in this difficult story because I came from white privilege. Another layer of loss is the loss of life that we knew before COVID-19. This is particularly difficult for us in America because we are an individualized society. All our lives we have been told to live the American dream, get what you want, live the way you want to live. That is good, and it makes us creative and motivated. But the downside is, it also makes us selfish. Most other countries operate in a collective society. They strive for individual too, but not at the cost and the expense of the greater good, the wholeness of the family, the community, or the country. Could that possibly be why there seems to be so much pushback in our country about blaming others for making us stay at home? I don't know. It causes me to wonder. Another layer is the loss of life. We are hurting as people that we love die. We will be faced with more to come, more loss. The challenges of dealing with loss within a pandemic are hard to imagine. So what can we do? I believe we can start with something small. Buckminster Fuller, who designed the geodesic dome, said, and I quote, "When I die, on my tombstone put 3 words, call me trim tab," unquote. He went on to explain that trim tabs are little rudders that line the big rudder of an ocean liner. When it comes time to turn the great ship, the little trim tabs start turning first, creating a low pressure, which allows the big rudder to turn without effort, changing the direction of the ship. Without the trim tabs that create that low pressure, the pressure in the water would be so great that it would snap off the big rudder. That is the power of little steps. Little steps that can ease the pressure. Little steps of learning that can create empathy and understanding. Little steps of kindness that can reach out to support. Little steps that can allow us to stand up. Stand up against treating others wrong. Structural oppression that has caused so much racial inequity is built into our system. It has been so embedded that it will take a lot of effort to change. But it can be done. Killer Mike, an African-American rapper and activist whose father was a police officer in Atlanta, said it so well. He alluded to steps that can be done. He said something like, one step is to stay home. Don't burn down your house. Another is to fill out the census. Let them know where you are. Another step is to start changing our country by voting. He went on to say, and I quote, we can plot, plan, strategize, organize, and mobilize to change our system, unquote. Those are trim tabs. We can do something. We can take trim tab steps that will eventually change our direction. I love living in that kind of hope. My sister Frida went on a civil rights tour to Alabama with a group from several churches in Minneapolis last fall. What she learned was life-changing. She brought back a bracelet for me that I wear every day. It says, the time is always right to do what is right, unquote. Martin Luther King Jr. Last week, I shared how we can nurture resiliency in people through caring relationships, high expectations, and opportunities to participate and contribute. Just look at this week. Then look at what could be if we intentionally and collectively stood by those oppressed and cared for their pain, loved them equally. Just look at what could happen if we held high expectations for those in power to do the right thing to all people they lead or protect. Just think if we would give every race, gender, sexual orientation, age, size, opportunities to participate and contribute. The model has been there in front of us all along. The Bible is full of examples of Jesus reaching out to the oppressed and showing them care, holding high expectations to leaders to do the right thing, and giving a voice to those who were not being heard so they could participate and contribute to God's kingdom. Elie Wiesel survived the concentration camps during World War II. He said, I quote, we must always take sides. Neutrality helps the oppressor, never the victim. Silence encourages the tormentor, never the tormented, unquote. All through the Bible, Jesus took the side of the tormented, the marginalized, the brokenhearted. He was not silent. Elie Wiesel reminds us, I quote, there may be times when we are powerless to prevent injustice, but there must never be a time when we fail to protest, unquote. When Nikita Khrushchev, the former leader of the former Soviet Union, was out of office and speaking to a crowd of reporters, one of them asked, and I paraphrase, you knew the horrible things Stalin was doing to the people. Why didn't you stand up and stop it? Khrushchev bellowed into the crowd, who said that? There was silence. No one said a thing. They were intimidated. And Khrushchev answered, now you know. Put your trim tab steps together. Take a stand, and together we can change the direction of the ship of injustice. The time is always right to do what is right. Will you pray with me? Gracious God, we come to you in troubled times. You know our story. You know all the stories of lives that have been broken. We do not know always how to help. Give us wisdom and courage to do what is right for all your children. Help us to bravely care when we fear. Help us to expect more of ourselves so that we stand up when wrong is done to someone. Help us to graciously give those who feel they have no voice or are invisible opportunities to be a part of something meaningful. Help us to do a better job of living your love with a voice that is not silent. May we live in such a way that when people look at us, they hear you. Amen. My name is Chris Meyer. I look forward to seeing you next week.